running properly and that we are live on all of the platforms. For those who don't know, Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. We're live everywhere. We're available everywhere. Let me just get everything in and everything running. And then we can go from there. Sorry guys. There we go. Let me see that everything is fine. Those who are joining, just let me know there in the comments if you can hear me and if everything is okay. And please, guys, tap the screen. Not even you don't want to tap the screen. Tap the screen, guys. Tap the screen. Help me out to the button of likes. What's his sundown spokesperson? But I can't talk action. Before I've been able to say anything, you already hear action. Aye. What is your spokesperson? Okay, I think we are good and live everywhere. It's obvious what we're gonna speak about today. It's obvious. A certain announcement was made yesterday, so we all know. Okay, let me start the show. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show with me, your host, George Mukwena. This show is live every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then also Monday to Wednesday. We are also live at 8 p.m. in the evening. If you do happen to miss out on any of the episodes, or you want to hear what myself or the panels that I have here have been speaking about over the past few months, they are all available on Facebook, all available on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch them in full. Like I said earlier, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok at the same damn time. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're listening on Facebook or you're listening on YouTube and you're wondering, how do you add your voice to the show? How do you join the show to speak live? You have to be following me on TikTok, and then while I'm live, get in. There'll come a time in the show when I'll say lines are open. At the bottom of the screen, there's a button that says multi-guest that will appear. Click on that button, and then you'll be able to jump inside and add your voice to the show live. Guys, church announcements. Please support the platform, guys. Please. I beg you guys. It's us content creators go through a lot to put these things up, and especially us that are doing this full time. So because we are not SuperSport, because we're not SABC, because we don't have sponsors, I really need to rely on you guys to help me out to keep this up and keep this rolling and keep this platform where us fans can have discussions up. So if you can do me the favor of donating to the account that's on the screen, or you can join the memberships on YouTube. They come in 3 tiers. There's Casual Overthinker, there's Dedicated Overthinker, and Elite Overthinker. Casual is 20 Rand a month subscription. Then you have Dedicated Overthinker, which is 60 Rand a month. Then you have Elite Overthinker, which is 150 Rand a month. You can join there on YouTube, and there's a bunch of perks that come with each level of that. Shout out to Pumindo Beni and also Exquisite Photo and Video for subscribing to the Casual Overthinking level. Pumi actually subscribed there and on Facebook. So thank you so much for the support over there. And then on TikTok, I'd like to shout out Sarani, Mtosta, and Guinello Asperado, who are subscribed here on TikTok. And then also, those who have donated, one would like to stay anonymous. The other one is Senzo Malinga. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. I beg and urge and plead that you guys also just put in a little something, man. Put in a little something so that I can keep this running. There's costs that come with this. Anyway, let's get back into the topic of today. The topic for today is Hugo Bruce, who announced the squad that's going to be playing in the October friendlies. We've got another internationals week. We're going to be off EPSL for 2 weeks. He announced the squad. This is the squad as it stands. Goalkeepers stay the same as in September. Ronwen Williams, Veli Motwa, and Ricardo Goss have been chosen. Then for defenders, we've got their favorite. Usidni Mobi, Grant Kekana, Nkosinathi Spisi, Aubrey Mudiba, Paseka Mako, Tobin Vala, Sianda Kulu, and Kulisom Dau. Difference is that Munyane and Mayela are out. Both injured, if I am not mistaken. Then also in the midfield, Jabula Blom comes in with Tebogo Mkwenas, Pepelos Tola, and Sbongiseni Mtetwa, aka Ox, aka the heart of the Chiefs midfield. Obviously, the three changes there are Leroux, Luke Leroux is out, Machman and Obas have been rotated out. For the forwards, you have Mikali Mayambela, US sensation Bongogu Tesongwane is coming into the squad. Temba Zwane, Percy Tauza, Kelele Pasa, Lau Foster, Levo Mutiba, and Munnapule Saleng, with Kodisang being taken out of the team. So luckily with this, we know that when we have these ones, the media is very eager, very eager to hear from Hugo Bruce. So let's hear a little bit of what he had to say during the announcement.
Coach, if you can just take us through your latest squad selection, and because previously you had said that going forward, this is the team, the core of the team is the team that you will be taking to the AFCON. In terms of what informed this particular selection?
Yeah, I think we are very close at the other side. Yes, we have again 3 injured players for the moment, players who played the games before. So it's a little bit, it's a pity. But I think for 80-85% that the team is made. There can be changes, certainly there can be changes, but I'm very happy that we are already so far. And with those 2 games now, Eswatini and Ivory Coast, I can really make the choices next month for the more important games against Benin and Rwanda.
I look at, especially in the midfield, the return of Mokoena, Jabulo Blom, and also even in the attack as well. Are these, when you look at it, 2 of the areas that give you headache when you have to select the final team?
Yeah, now today it's certainly the left back. We have Maela injured, we have Maseko injured, so there's only Modiba. So let's hope. I don't really hear good information about the injury of Maela, so maybe he will not be there next month either. So that gives me a little bit headache. And also, yes, we are looking, but for the moment we don't really find a really replacement for Zwane, for Temba. That kind of player, it's difficult to find. We have a few options, so we will see in the next months what those options will give us. And I hope we can find someone. At the other side, I have still Percy Tau, who can play in that position. So it's not really the biggest problems of all, but it worries me a little bit.
Coach, are you a little bit worried that Mailula is not the player? I think he has only played 2 matches.
You know, this is the. Oh no, I will say it like this: you have a good agent when the agent is looking at you. But if you have an agent who is always only looking at his wallet, then you don't have it. And I am afraid that my Lula is not a good agent. When you let him go to Toronto, where you know that there are 2 Italian internationals, Insigne is there, that there is a Canadian international, Kerr. Yeah. And you let go a young player like this who has 15 games experience in PSL. That is not the right choice. And my Lula don't play, will not play. You will see even in the next months. And in a month, competition is finished in America. So for me, he lost the season. And again, it's not. Don't have to blame him for that. Certainly not. I think you have to blame the agent, because you know that as an agent, when he goes there, that it will be very, very, very difficult for that guy. And it should have been better that he should stay in Sundowns and play a Champions League again. So we will got the experience and maybe to do the move in 1 or 2 years. But now it was much too soon and not the right club.
Coach, these two teams that you're playing in the friendlies are, of course, going to bring different challenges. But specifically with the Cote d'Ivoire match, how much of it will give you a write-up, especially when you look at
What? I didn't understand you.
the two friendly matches that you'll be playing?
No, yeah.
Yes, the teams are certainly giving different challenges. But in terms of the Cote d'Ivoire match specifically, how much are you hoping that will sort of give you a write-up, especially when you look at AFCON and that space being the location of the tournament?
You know, there's certainly Swantini will be a good preparation for the games in November. I don't think we play against teams who will attack, who will try to dominate. It will be the opposite. They will let us come and try with counter-attacks like Namibia did, and like Eswatini will do also next week. So this is a good opportunity for us to play against such an opponent, and it's certainly a good preparation for those games. Ivory Coast and also already DRC are more preparations for AFCON. Our better teams, our tougher teams, our teams with more quality, and that gives us also a good experience to know what's waiting for us when we are going to AFCON.
Before you went to
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. Let's start having a conversation about Kaizer about Bafana Bafana, and we can speak about some of the things that Hugo Bruce has touched on over here. So I'm gonna go straight ahead and open the lines, and I'm gonna just be very brief because I want this conversation we're having. There's going to be a few places we're going to go with it. So guys, you can request. Remember, you have to join me on TikTok and be following me on TikTok in order to be able to jump in. At the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says multi-guest. And then click on that button, request. I get a list of the people on my side. Then we try to let as many people in to have these conversations about Bafana Bafana, ever we're speaking about that day. Let me see. Sure, Lord Mullah, just send me a DM. It's fine. It's okay. Theo says sleazy comment on my Lula. Agent 007, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm okay. Have they caught your Capitec people?
FNB, I think I should go and report and communicate numbers, stuff like that. So, I'm planning on going to Sunnyside Police on Monday, I think.
Okay. Let's jump straight into it. What do you think of this squad? Your general thoughts about this squad? And do you think that this Bafana Bafana can do the business at AFCON?
What I want to say is this guy is like alcohol, he's a truth serum, just that we South Africans don't like the truth, we always shy away from the truth, I wanted to comment on my Lula, but let me go to your questions. Yeah, I think the squad is good enough to compete.
Okay.
I think they've stayed together for a bit of time. So I think they know each other well enough. And I think it helps that they're from 2-3 teams, majority of them. So there is that familiarity also that we've been lacking. And there is enough European experience in terms of Oblom, very good player, extremely good player. I think I didn't think. I thought he was a good player. I didn't think he was a very good player. When he was a Chiefs, I thought, oh, there's a player there. But now in the few MLS highlights that I see, he's a very very good player. Then Othongwane there.
Was
My
begging in the
Senga
goals that
brother.
side.
Yeah, so and I hope, and he's speaking at the right time for me. Hence I'm saying we have a bit of enough experience. Like the problem usually with AFCON is you meet countries like AFCON, like Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, countries like that. We have like 9, 10 starters playing in Europe, and as European players playing against PSL teams. So it becomes a bit of a tall ask,
Okay.
But if maybe you have 4 or 3 players from Europe and mixing it with 7 quality players from PSL who know each other's games, then you can bridge that gap and then you can become competitive. So I think they will definitely get out of the group stages. They will definitely, if the draw is likely, we will definitely go to the quarters. I think that's from the quarters. That's when I can say I can accept any result from then onwards. Yeah.
Okay. Baba Genzo Hutle, how are you? Can you hear me? There we go.
Yes, I
Thank.
can hear you. How are you? And
I'm
the
good,
panel,
my brother. I'm good. Thank you for the rose. Firstly, thank you for the gifts here on TikTok because I want to TikTok. I want to tap on the screen, but thank you so much for giving me that rose. 2 questions for you. General thoughts about this Bafana Bafana team, and then is this Bafana Bafana team prepared for AFCON so late in the game? Do you think they're ready?
Okay. First, I am happy with the team. I think we have the coach have assembled. I've got the concern in the left back position. My last absence proved that we are lacking in that department. I think for isikhathi eside man, we are lacking in that department. Solo kwahamba aboTshepo Masilela, our regular left back, and kwangena aboSanti, then aboSanti bakhula, yes. So that position nje siyastruggle. There's a boy lo ebekadlalela iRichards Bay owathengwa iSundowns. He was good, but now ngimbona sekalapha ku-Cape Town City, but nje all in all nje just to summarize le ndaba la kule position ka left back hayi siyahluleka angifuni ukukhuluma amanga, but yeah, I'm happy.
Uma ubukhona.
Hayi mobe udlala number 2 mobe. Yeah, and I'm happy futhi nje ngokungena kwaka Khuliso Mudau. Yeah.
Okay.
That guy is a very solid right back. He's got ability to go forward and come backward. So he's very much balanced. Ngingamcompare anabo-Reece James. So uyakhona ukuya phambili, uyakhona ukudefender. Very much balanced game yakhe. He's not one-dimensional fullback. Yeah. So nge-squad all in all la ku-midfield nje I am quite happy. Then ngokuya kwaBlom futhi nakhona ngi-happy. I think he deserves it man, uBlom. I was a little bit worried nge-comment ka-Hugo Bros last time maka-selecta i-squad athi Njabulo Blom has missed a lot of game. Come on man. Mawucheck ama-stats, uBlom is always there. Just that nje ama-game yana ayi-2 he never played.
It was 2 games and it was injury, wasn't it? The slight injury.
Yes. Then coach Uti he won't select Blom because he's not playing, he's coming in and out. Whereas I think futhi enye for now izinto zisebenza ngendlela yakhe, he's winning. We won't have that criticism over coach towards coach, but the moment izinto ziyokujika zingahambi kahle ama-comments wakhe azoku-backfire because now for instance we know how good Obas is. We know how good Obas is, and he has not been playing regularly with Sundowns, but he's been selected. So if you make such comments, go Blom, then you select umuntu sometimes idlala 3-4 games, he's been on the bench, he's not playing.
Marageko Obas this time. Obas is not in
No,
this team. Yeah, oh, you mean? Oh,
I
you
mean
mean?
last yes,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes. Yes. So if you make such comment, then you select umuntu ongadlaliko, then kuyakhombisa ukuthi equality ayikho. And as people, each and every coach unama preferences wakhe, unama player awapreferayo, irrespective of thina abalandeli sibona iplayer liyinkomo or silibona liphila. We can go back mfethu sibuyele kubo Shakes Mashaba. Ngathanda ugabuza sithi ugabuza sibuyele futhi manje kubo Pitso Msimane athi killer, and he was banging those goals. I mean, Hugo Bros naye himself, Unico Move is always there. But yeah, so overall nje squad happy. Then
Do you think the squad can is ready for AFCON? Do you think they can do something kule tournament?
we should because we've got quality, man.
Mara
Yabona this
ngata
time
uko show, ngata uko show.
no iwari yami ukuthi uyabona consistent njani ngokuselect isquad sakhe, cishe he keeps the core of team. But ke iwari yami ukuthi my injuries and going forward, but if singaba nale squad lesi futhi ngiyajabula mina, yazi I prefer team edlala ngenkomo emuva than team edlala ngenta emuva. Reason being mawudlala ngenta emuva, then you tend to be overconfident. Uyabona our own beloved Chiefs yenzani, uyadlala lapha but you are not used to ukudlala emuva, then ugcina wenza ama mistake bascore. But mawudlala ngenkomo, mawu midfield uzusaba nokumphasa uthi hey nokuthi ngimphase mina ngijike ngibuyele phambili. So lapha emuva I hear people are complaining ngaboXulu nabomvala, but no, mina I'm quite happy nge-defense. Indaba kaNico Mobi angike
I think for Kenneth ngizobuya for isikhathi. Kenneth, welcome to the show. How are you?
Morning, how are you?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm glad today you didn't start singing over. Hi. Tell me, what are your general thoughts about this Bafana Bafana team that Hugo Bruce has chosen? And then also, is this Bafana Bafana team ready for AFCON? Because we see them playing about Eswatini, we're going to see them playing Ivory Coast, but we're 2 months away from the tournament. Do you think that they're going to do well in that tournament?
You know what? I was looking at our forward and asking myself, where would the goals be coming from? And I'm worried that why don't we have a guy like Kanyiso Mayo in the mix, because he's doing well. It's bringing them goals up front. You look at Ulipasa. For the last 4 matches that Pirates played, you have never showed any hunger of goals, and then you are bringing him to the team and expecting that we will be doing well. I think we are not ready, and it shows like Hugo Bros doesn't have full control of what he wants to do, because
But don't you trust Foster? Foster is scoring in England. Songwan is scoring in the US. Okay, Lepasa has gone down a little bit. Don't you trust those guys? Tau is usually a good option.
Those ones I do trust. The only problem is one. They are playing in different continents, so to say, different leagues, whereby we don't know when they come together, how quickly will they gel to produce.
I think you just,
those
Kenny, just to jump in quickly, they're saying they can't hear you in the comments. So I don't know, maybe can you do something with the mic?
I just muted and come back.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot better. You can carry on.
Okay, cool. So I was saying, look at all Bafana Bafana teams and the goals we have scored in AFCON. Who was the striking force? You will find that we had good synergy with the midfield and the strikers, because these are guys who were playing almost similar type of football.
Okay.
But you look at all these guys coming from all these other areas. It's gonna be difficult for us to play and win there. Same as other big African countries that were qualified for AFCON. You must just think how they play when they are in the tournament. Same thing, you look at how they perform in World Cup. As much as they can qualify for all these World Cups. So there's just something which we still need to do to make sure that our development is so good that regardless of where these guys go, when they come
Okay.
to play for us, they still produce the kind of football that they've learned from the grassroots.
Okay, Kenneth, let me bring in Malume Kutsa. How are you?
My TikToker.
What do I get?
My TikToker. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone is good and happy going towards the final.
It's not final talk today, man. Oh, it's not final talk today. Tell me, Malume Kutsa, 2 questions. What do you think of this Bafana Bafana team that was chosen by Hugo Bruce? And then, now that we've seen this team and we know that it's not going to change, it's not going to change much. Do you think they're ready for this AFCON when you look at them as constructed?
If there's one thing I love, it's the consistency.
Okay.
And I've tried looking at the players and just to find similarities or what makes them stand out from everyone else, including Ikhrutman Umshish, just being coachable. The bulk of the team is coachable, if not everyone. We've seen them change styles in almost their entire career. We've seen Umshishi function as a winger. We've seen Umshishi function as a 10. We've seen Uplom function as a right back. We've seen Uplom function as a 6, function as a man marker, Mayela, almost everyone in the team. Abolipasa as a winger. You can if it was a classroom, we would say this team is comprised of teachers' puppets. These guys are people who are just ready to listen to the coach. If the coach says, let's run today, they just run. I'm happy with Hugo Plus has managed to identify those people and put them together. And again, I think it's not only about them being puppets, but them being suitable for continental football.
But do we have stars? Do we still have stars in the PSL? Because when you look at this team, maybe you could look at Zwane and say that he's a star. But the others seem okay. But also when you look into the league,
Well, it depends how you look at it, right? If we're talking Star in terms of crowd favorites, definitely Chambers one stands out. Especially, I think he forms part of a trio, and the other 2 are always injured. That would be Gosi Lodge and King and Dolly. If we're talking about footprint, someone who struggled walking in a mall and out. I think it's limited to those 3 guys. I don't know who else comes close to them. But in terms of star, there's a rising star in South Africa, guys. No one bangs 3 goals in 3 games. And that's in the EPL. That's Lion Foster. I don't think we are appreciate. I heard someone asking about goals. I don't think we are appreciating what Lyle Foster is doing and at the level he's doing it at. And by the way, one of the goals comes against Tottenham Hotspurs.
Who's on fire?
He's on fire. And in those games, it's not just the goals. You know, there are those players who like a goal and then it's done. There are also some missed chances where he tried taking shots. I remember where he peeled away, pulled off, got in, took it to the side, tried Ukshaya in across the goal, but then by block. I think it was against Tottenham. So, guys, we have to understand the team is somewhere else, and Ufoster also coming back to Bafana, he's not comfortable because there's someone who the coach likes in the shape of Uzakele Lipas. And if anyone wants to question if Uzakele Lipas are going into the national team, just know when he started playing for the national team, it's not that he wasn't scoring, he wasn't even playing for that matter when he was selected by Hugo Bros. So this is not uncharted territory for him. He usually goes into Bafana Bafana. Actually, I prefer a humble, for lack of a better word, a humble Lepasa going into Bafana Bafana, because we saw when he went to Bafana Bafana with a chip on his shoulder, having played for Pirates, he was doing some funny stuff like trying to drop in Chapadi Rakatanya, and I was like, come on, Lepasa, you're a workhorse. Please stick to that, and we appreciate you for that. Do you understand? So with that chip off his shoulder, with the chip off his shoulder now,
So yeah.
I think we get to see and appreciate it better as a Lepas in terms of attitude. In terms of Uplom, that's the one guy who I was disappointed in. Because I've seen Uplom respond to criticism. I've seen Uplom respond to it out.
Yeah.
And when he was on shaky ground with Chiefs in terms of the contract, I think that's when he played the best football of his life. That's when he marked Usaleng to a point that the overseas teams came knocking. So what disappointed me was that coach said he's not playing. And instead of just saying, yes, I'm not playing, he decided to give reasons as to why he's not playing. He said, I was suspended and then next game I was injured, which basically proves what the coach just said. He just said, you're not playing. You understand? So I was just disappointed. I was like, just stay away from the media, because the media seems to have an agenda against a coach who clearly, when he likes you, he likes you. Whether in the team or not, don't burn your bridges or whatever. The coach clearly likes you, and he will keep selecting you. He also has a liking towards Keisha Smailula, and him speaking out on this. Maybe Keisha might just look at it and think, maybe let me just get a loan away. I don't know if Toronto is the team that loans out players.
But that's my next question. Wait. Oh, jumpy, hang on. Let me let the others back in so we can speak about this. Agent 007, he's spoken about Mailula. He came out and spoke about Mailula's agent in that situation. He spoke about Blom last time, about Msimang, Kaizer Chiefs, all of that stuff. The question I want to ask you is, two, if you can just keep it a bit short on both of them. One, is he correct with the Mailula thing? Number one. And then number two, should the national team coach be speaking about these issues in his position? Is it not putting people in shaky ground where, as Umalume Kutso said just now as a player, Msimang was now getting asked and had to address it. Blom has to address it. Smangmai has to address it. Instead of just going, you know what, guys, I pick you for whatever reasons I pick you. These deeper issues, maybe a Walter Steenbok at SAFA should be discussing, maybe the PSL should be discussing. Should a national team coach be saying these things?
That's the last one is a tough one, eh? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But let me start with the easy one. I think with the Mailula one he's right and he's wrong.
Okay.
He's right. Let me start with where he's wrong. I think it was the right age for Mailula to leave Sundowns. It was the right age, you know. We always complain about late bloomers. That remember Pesita when he was 25,
now.
you know, it's a bit late, you know, stuff like that. So I think it was the right age for him to move out. And I want more teens like that. I want Shabalala, Umufuking, you know, whoever who is as a rising star, whenever he reaches that 19, 20 stage, he leaves SA, you know. So I think that's the right age to leave SA. Where he's wrong, that's where he's wrong. Where he's right is he shouldn't have gone to Toronto. He shouldn't have gone to MLS for me. Firstly, Toronto, like for the reason that he's mentioning it, I wasn't aware of it. And it's like, oh, it makes sense. But I was against the move of MLS, you know.
Okay.
He's not gonna play. Remember, American teams is a retirement home, you know. So when you have Insigne, and the Canadian youngster and whoever that he mentioned, those players are going to be played for their legacy, because they're going to be selling shares and stuff like that, everything like that, So he's never going to get a chance, He's going to get a chance after 2 or 3 years. And maybe then, remember, there's a Canadian youngster also who Bruce mentioned. And I mean, it's America. We know these people. He's always going to be preferred before him. And unless if you want to stay in the MLS for a very long time, then it's fine. But if his plan is to transition from MLS to Europe, then it's going to be a problem because he's going to get chance maybe after 3 or 4 years, and at that time there's another hottest property. And again, to go from MLS to Europe is a transition. It's a very difficult transition. I was just doing a quick Google search to see how many go there, and I could see less than 10 people who went from MLS to big European leagues. So I think for me, he should have went for maybe Club Brugge or KK Gent, those smaller Belgium teams or whatever teams there, so that he can play European football. Then get exposed. And also remember, if you're not an international and your country is not in the top, I don't know, I can't remember the
Top
specific
50,
criteria. Yeah, it gets difficult for you, So it was the wrong club, right move, but wrong club, Yeah, and the last one, what is this guy? The guy is a national team coach, right? He's overseeing all the players. And just like any other coach who's coaching any player, he should say, my son, not my son, but you cannot get what I'm trying to say. I think you should do 1, 2, 3, 4 to improve. You should do this, and this and that. I think that is his space. And I think the problem is he is not being given the forum to explain these things in a proper way. I feel like if there was a forum and say, guys, I'm going to meet PSL coaches, for example, and he's like, excuse me, Coach Nteki, can you please work on Msimanko? He's doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you work on Peterson? Can you work with this? Or just say work on Lepasa, so that the chain of communication is from the national team coach to the team coach and to the player, or sometimes even if, it's like, okay, guys, this is my 50 players which I'm going to be pulling from, he can have a meeting during the week when they're not playing and say, guys, 1, 2, 3, and he's like, guys, let's discuss each other, and he can point individuals one-on-one, then in a closed environment, then it's fine, but because you don't have that structure in the PSL and stuff, he has to find a way of communicating, and given what he is, I feel like he's right to point these things out,
But surely he can do that privately, because it feels like the media, I feel, is trying to put him into tough situations, and he's obliging. You can have that feeling and you can communicate it to Casillas or his representatives or to Rulani or whoever, but to come out loud, isn't that, man? It creates more trouble.
No, that's why I'm saying is a bit of tricky one for me. The tricky part is where you're mentioning it. It's like he can see the traps that are being set for him, and he's working right down into the landmines. But I still feel like he's justified to say whatever he wants because he is coaching the national team and is coaching each and every South African player indirectly. And to a certain extent, he is like the overseer of all the coaches, And I think, like I said, sometimes it's all about a proper forum, He can say to Untake to say, guys, can you please up your game, gents, because I don't like it when the league is not competitive and sometimes it's running away with it, He can say that in a closed environment, That's going to be all and good, He can even, because he's an experienced player, experienced coach has seen, he's been all around the world. He can say, guys, Chiefs, I see you guys, striker wise, you're struggling. I know someone from Belgium, maybe you can try him out, as a striker coach, I think it's all onto Safa for not providing the right platform for me. But yeah.
Okay. Malabaguto, we hear about this thing, Casillas. We've seen what happened when he mentioned the Bomsimango about Chiefs. you see what happened with all of this stuff. I'm going to ask you the two questions. Was he correct? Is he correct in his assessment of the Mailula situation? Number one. And then number two, should he have said anything? Does he have the right to say something in such a public way?
Yeah. Who agent once touched on something, and it was spot on. I think we all agreed with actually. If you look at that Chega Hugo Cross, he's a madara. They're tired of secrets. They're tired of holding things back. They've done it their entire lives. If you have an old man, if you've ever chilled with an old man at the family gathering, and an uncle comes in, Kamusadi, they'll always tell you, hey, Musadi wa mang umupi, man. You're like, okay, did you have to express that in public?
Yeah.
These people are just tired of holding secrets. They're direct. They call it as they see it.
Okay.
But moving away from him, is it correct? I support it, right?
Okay.
There's an individual who was doing some course and he was put in the center. His mistakes were highlighted recently. His mistakes were highlighted, and going into the next game, he did extremely well. And people were like, hey, he's strong mentally. And I thought to myself, is he strong, or does he understand what the difference between criticism and critique? Or understand? Or sometimes, if, in school or wherever in life, if there's that one child who you love, whether because you've seen their struggle, when you see them with a cigarette, you stop the car and you just talk to them. Come on, you don't need to do that. But if it's just a random whoever, you just look at it like, I don't know, and you continue with your journey. You understand? So sometimes when someone speaks out and it sounds like it's against you and it's just towards you, you must understand it's from a place of love. And the platform does not necessarily matter. It's from a place to say, boy, I think you should maybe reconsider overly agent. And what's a tip? Which I don't think your agent is looking out for you. And
but can't you do that privately, Malume? Because can't you call him? Because now, not only do I have to deal with this, for example, whatever Hugo Bruce said, as a player, now I have to go deal with media is going to be asking me questions. Now my agent is going to be doing this. Now all of this stuff publicly. And maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he's contacted Cassius on the side or whatever, but he might not even know the full thing. Yes, we're saying he's the national coach, and yes, all of that stuff. But maybe his situation is different. Maybe there's other reasonings. But now you'll find yourself in a situation where you spoke about Kaizer Chiefs, and then now you have to come out the following week and say, no, I'm going to have lunch with Untseki in order to speak about these things, instead of dancing in the public and then privately do all those things. Isn't that like it creates more issues?
I hear you and I understand, but the nice thing is that all the questions that may come, Mailula has an option available to say no comment or answer them as truthfully as possible. But there's just one legend who played in Belgium. I just forgot who it is. And it's not the conventional ones, the popular ones. When Hugo Bros came, he said, guys, I was in Belgium and first couple of months, I was shocked at how people are just going off at each other. So they just tell each other the truth. If you look at Kanakimang, if you look at Kevin De Bruyne, we all know his feelings. When he's in his feelings, the entire world knows. Romeo Lukaku, we know. When Hazard wanted to go to Real Madrid, when he wasn't happy at Real Madrid, we know. So it seems like there is a trend which Belgians don't hold back. Well, understand? Okay. And I know you're not necessarily asking me to describe Belgians, but you're just asking what's that behavior, what do we make of it? But all I'm saying is, does it yield positive results? It also depends on the individual. You understand? I'll always say, I love Utemba's one, how he responded to, he never said a word, being told which he'll never be selected. He never said a word about Bafana Bafana. Instead, when he was finally given a chance, he performed. similar to Uloch. If you remember Uloch under Stuart Baxter.
But even with that Sundown stuff, I don't think Tembazwane changed anything. In fact, I think Bruce changed his thing. But the mere fact that he said it out loud, it became a media storm. And I think our media has realized that, and they're setting those traps so that they can get something juicy to say tomorrow.
That is exactly my response, to say the media might make a spectacle of it. But if you are a player and you know which you are good enough, you don't have to respond negatively like what Mfimango did, which I think was irresponsible of him, as well as Uplom, but at least Uplom is still in the team. You don't have to respond at all. Another player who people would ask, Wuti, hi man, guys, who should we play? Why is this guy not in the national team when we are making in this position? And today he's in the national team without even making a squeak. And that is Upaseka Marco. Marco is quiet, playing his games, making his jokes, not even saying, coach, I deserve a spot in the national team. And today he finds his way in the national team. Okay. And if there's one thing, Mr. Oti, I can tell you from what I've experienced or what I've seen, but I cannot tell you what I don't know. I know this sounds like an obvious statement.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you what I don't know. Now, sometimes with these European coaches, they've experienced some stuff. And I get it. You're just asking what's in public or not. But with these European coaches, or not even just European, even about Coach Peter and about Coach Steve, they've seen stuff and they know you're one of the road that you're on, you're going to hit a wall. But if you move on this side, because they've been exposed before and they've lived, they've seen the brains, they've seen they've seen the Zungus. I remember when Peter was advising one of the players saying, when I spotted Ubonga Nizungu, he was playing as a 10. And I told him, if you play as a 6 or an 8, you're going overseas in 2 months. And he actually went overseas within a year after playing as an 8 or a 6. So sometimes, like Oskido says, respect the Mahrutman. When a Mahrutman is speaking, don't take it to heart. Just listen to the advice and then you'll prosper. I kid you not, especially those who are well informed.
Okay. Let me bring it over. Same 2 questions for you. Is your Bruce's reading of the situation with Mailula correct? And then Ugutakulume about this thing. Should he have done it so publicly?
OT, my brother, in South Africa, if you are an honest man, very few people will like you, then the rest, they won't like you. Coach Hugo Bros, in most cases, he doesn't hide things. If he feels like, no, this should not happen, he just say it as it is. So, lento le ayikhulumileko bekakhuluma iqiniso, yes. That move mfethu iqiniso ukhumbule, iplayer if liyamover from one team to another, kunemali lapha abo signing on fee, abo what. So obviously agent benefita more than iplayer malihleli. So yena uyibuke ngendlela yokuthi uMailula honestly vele ngendlela le ama-facts la awabalako coach, none of us I think they are aware about those facts, because uyasho ukuthi kunabo Lorenzo Insigne lapha, kunabo Care lapha, so vele he won't play. Then into eyenzakalako vele i-reality. Maybe kuze akhulume so, maybe he had some few words futhi nalo coach we-Toronto. I'm not sure. That did not know. But ngendlela akhuluma ngayo uyezwa umntwana mawumthanda OT umthanda umntwana or umuntu umthanda, obviously mabakubuza something ekuloko irritate or something that bothers you ngaye, imedia ibuza ngendlela le abambuze ngayo vele all of us sudden nje umane wasnapper nje what no, that was a bad move, because bambuze I think out of he didn't expect such question ngokucabanga kwami, and I'm not sure ukuthi he's proud about what he said, but yena ukhulumile. So he was not
But
supposed
then
to.
every day uza khuluma and then he has to come back and clarify. Khulumile ke Sundowns that to come back and clarify. Khulumile Chiefs that to come back and clarify. Now at some point, don't we say, my guy, right, you're correct in what you're saying, but you rather don't say it here. Kuluma ne player, you can speak with the player as much as you want, you can speak with the representation, you can do all of that stuff. Mara, it seems as though, just on the surface, it creates so much extra drama. So maybe Casillas, let's say again, Asaz, if he's ever spoken to Casillas, but let's say he's never spoken to Casillas. Can you imagine Ulaiti TV, national team coach is saying this? Now media is asking you questions. Now maybe ready for Lento because you've never thought about it. Now you have to either defend yourself or defend your age. It causes so much, and you can still do the same thing. If like I'm sure he can contact these players. Here's the boy 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't mean that other people have to be involved.
Yeah, hey, I feel like unobumalimanyana, so as uyathanda ukudlala neqiniso ku-media. Yena he was not supposed to say such statement because for player number one manje ngicabanga ukuthi angazi uthola ama-call amaningi kangangani uMayilula angazi ukuthi agent yakhe ithola ama-call nje. I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we must expect the response from the agent. We'll hear a response from agent now. Sekuba khona attraction ukudonsana, but yeah, he was not, to be honest nje, in summary, he was not supposed to say what he said ku-media. He was supposed to contact uMayilula or whoever or in charge for uMayilula ukuthi lota mara lapha ngathi wenze mistake. Why can't you try maybe loan move nyana? Okay, you have messed up. Let's try to find indlela eya phambili. Let's try maybe utholele intwana move, because you can clearly see mfethu uMayilula uyamthanda ucoach. Abuti Kutso mentioned something about Hugo Bros. Bros, if he likes the player, he likes the player, and he will say what he wants to say about that player. Same go Nico Mobi. We have criticized Nico Mobi selection yake Mobi, but usiphendulile wasitshela ukuthi yena won't drop uMobi for whatever reason I mentioned level. So he's very fond of uMayilula. Uyamthanda, and from Asise Sundowns, before he even selected him, he said some of the words guy amagama amahle ukuthi no, uMayilula, he will come in the team. He's still young. I think if he can stay maybe for another season before he moved to Europe or but yeah, moving to MLS, I do not think Nami Umailula is on benefit. I move there. Yes, financially, yes, he will be well taken care of. But in terms of development, no cool. No.
Okay. Let me bring in Kenneth. Kenneth, what do you feel about this? Because I've got the two questions for you. Number one, was he correct in his assessment of what happened with Lucasius Mailula? And then number two, separately, was he correct to come out, whether right or wrong, was he correct to say those things out in public, in the media?
I think this guy, we gave him airtime from the moment he came. When he started bashing Sundowns players and all that, and we clapped hands for him. And ever since then, as you said, he has said things which he has to come and clarify, or and which, for me, I'm saying he should use this intelligence in terms of how to handle some of these issues. He's there for that purpose. He should know where the players are moving, and he should advise even the agents to say, as much as the player is costing X amount of money, where he's going, you are going to deny him game time for the national team. I think, and I also blame Sundowns on this one, to say for them it wasn't even about the money. They should have supposed to guide this guy to go and play in places like Abu Belgium. He could have been playing right now, making a great stride, and honestly, any move for a player to the US side, like you said, you must be aiming for retirement there. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Guys, for time's sake, I'm gonna let in the
Can I
next.
say something? Can I say something?
You jumped in as I'm cutting. You jumped in as I'm cutting. You know what I'll do, agent? I'll open it at the end again, and then you can just jump in and have your piece there. As I'm cutting, you jumped in, but it's fine. Let me bring in the next panel just to carry on. Then at the end, I'll open it. There's some guys that have been waiting for a while here. Theo, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Yo, how was it? That's I'm good, Mr. OT. How are you?
I'm okay, my brother. I'm okay. So here's my question to you. What are your general thoughts about Bafana Bafana team that has been chosen now? And before we ask about Casillas, that will be the next round. Is having Themba Zwane is not having a Themba Zwane replacement going to hurt South African football in a whole? Should we be trying to develop that player or find that
Ish.
player?
Yeah. Yo, very good questions. Let me greet everyone in the panel, but like Dallas Sigma comments, so being a little sis. Yeah, nakusasa khona bobe bakhala but asenqe lapho. Okay, coach for me, we have a very very good coach, guys. I don't wanna lie to you. We have a very good coach, a coach that I believe, for the time he has been in South Africa, he has shaken some few trees, he has challenged some few people.
Okay.
But based on his squad, this current squad, I think he has chosen very very capable players, quality players at best. But my worry Lana Uguti, we are having a coach that is choosing players, but I more feel like it's more like individual players who are playing good than like more than players that but when you bring them together, there's gonna be continuity. There's gonna be process Uguti. These players, for an example, I don't even know his natural first 11. Like players that we know, whether ngaba khona bobani, players that we know, these ones I have to start, or maybe 8 like best 8 that we know. It's okay. Ronan Williams is gonna start at the back. Like I feel like if we can know or have a normal 11, then it will be much easier. But when we bring these other players, we are bringing them to strengthen this first 11. But instead, we are having players that are being brought, but not based on performances. Yabona. So when they come, everyone wants to prove themselves, guys, whether we like it or not. And I think so far this team can compete, but also if he can impose his style of play, every time when we play, can we dominate? Yabo? Can we have a team that would go out there and just not, like for an example, Korisa, it's always something that is there, but can we have a team that's going to create many chances,
Okay.
like control the ball, like mobilize, like be able to just dictate their presence in the game. Not to go to a team as of like Nyamalale, yabo, but also to pinpoint on certain players. Yabo, and I know a lot of people are going to be angry here. You look at a player like Ubando Saleng, yabo. Saleng, guys, is very good, very, very good. But I feel like when it comes to South Africa, when it comes to Bafana Bafana, the way the coach wants him to play, he's still trying to adapt. And those are players that we should be looking up to. And these guys in the next coming few years, they are gonna be our Messi's, our Ronaldo's, our star players. But instead, with him being struggling, it shows Uguti there are certain elements of a coach that he still needs to understand. But also, you check the middle field, guys. Okay, let's be honest. Had it not to Plomo Korele Kolu Plom Ngabageke South Africa, let's be honest. You would have not selected him had he not scored that goal. So those are things that we need to be looking at. But okay, you're picking players, and these are players that we love and they are doing good. But what's the main? I love what is like. We need a core or like a strategy that we know. Which we are playing Ipolelinji, offensive football, high pressing or whatever. But can we have continuity? I know we are planning based on certain teams, but can we have come into a game and impose ourselves? Yeah,
So then the question then becomes: Is it a national team coach's job to develop players within the national team, or is it his job to, what, guys? Everybody was Shisayo
Yeah.
because they're on form, they're high level.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put them in and we'll figure it out. Should they have a long term style of play at a national team?
Okay, I will make an example in Spain if you remember. Barcelona was doing great. I won't lie. When it came to 2010 World Cup, they dominated simply because Barcelona was doing great. If we can, even 2015 or 2014, if I remember, Germany, Bayern was doing great. The same thing. I think if you can develop such, like mindset and such desires or such, like fundamental, such visions, have a team that is doing good. Sundowns is doing
So
good,
it's
guys.
Katy
Let's be
Sundowns.
honest. Yes, guys, I'm Marias now, but okay, let me put it this way. It's better to experiment something and it goes wrong, but you know what you have tried, than to be
Okay.
busy changing things and you are failing. Bexele, we have players like Abolochi, guys. I can count, now we can count players that have came to the national team that became like a buzz. You're like, yo, look at him. And then all of a sudden, boom, they disappear. But my point is, bring 4 or 5 players to Sundowns that are already on form, that are playing. And okay, I wish we can borrow Allende, but we can't. Just bring someone that we know which can be the core of the team, and we go on with it. Yeah, well.
Okay.
But also
Okay.
to answer the second question, I belong. Uzwane for me, guys. Uzwane, I think like the coach. The reason why he had a fight with Mangoba Mngithi at the first place, it's because he was misunderstanding certain elements of South African football. Our players, we need to be honest, they mature at a later stage. But when they mature, you see what is happening, Yabo. And when it comes to Zwane, for me, I think Zwane can still give you 4 or 5 years. And I know people can beg to differ. He doesn't have that pace, but he has that football intelligence. He can make players run and enjoy football. You understand? You can look at Upesitao, guys. Upesitao is a fire. Like, Upesitao is on fire, whether you like it or not. I remember when he was not choosing him because of the fact that he was not playing Al Ali because of Upito Aham, but they put him on a curve. But my point is, you need players that are going to come in, even though they are not playing, but they have a heart of football. They are going to come in and boss the game and say, you know what, even though I'm not consistent in my team, I might be even on the bench, but when I come to the national team, I'm going to raise my hand and I'm going to prove why I've been selected by the coach. But if you're going to be a coach that's going to select players and say who's one is old, I mean, let's be honest, he average, I'm a play South Africa right now, they're all above 23. You know that. And it's been happening for years. If he wants to restructure and change that, it's fine. For me, I think it would be good if you can just for fun, take out maybe 15 players, Abadal, and putting new players. Maybe we'll see something fresh. Yeah,
So if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that it's not necessarily that his squad is fairly consistent, but the consistency corner is not based on quality. So it much rather it be consistent. Like if he chooses Sundowns is the best players top team. So choose them consistently and have them play rather than consistently in under average under average.
Like, okay, let me put it this way, simple. Look at the Sundowns winning mentality, guys. Like, okay, we should know. Okay, I know we want to play pretty football, guys, but we are failing to play pretty football. We have been for the past few years. Bafana has been a disgrace. Let's be honest. We are failing to impose ourselves. We are failing to, dictate games. We lead the game 1-0. Second half, we are drawing 1-1, and all of a sudden now we are throwing things. Like if you have a winning team, guys, a team that has a winning mentality, even though they can be struggling, but you can just put in Bexel. In that Sundowns team, for me personally, you have Mudauda. And Mudau Yambon guys on flanks is unstoppable. You understand? You bring in a Blom, you tell him with Blom, when he goes up, I want you to check that side there, block it. And the nicest thing with our players now, especially in the middle field, we have players that understand, we can cover for our areas a short time. But for me, what I'm saying, if you bring players that have a winning mentality, that are knowing each other, like that's another thing. They know each other, they complement each other. It becomes easier for you as a coach. But okay, if that strategy is failing, you can then do plan B, which is bringing Abu Saleh, all these other players. But best have a player now than go to a player that are still going to train in the field.
Okay. Let me bring Lupumlane. Lupumlane, how are you doing?
I'm good, my brother. You?
I'm okay, my brother. The two questions I have for you: what are your general thoughts about this Bafana Bafana team that has been chosen? And is this thing of not having a Temba Zwane replacement, is it going to be a problem for us?
Yeah, first let me start by greeting everyone. I'm gonna greet Mina because I was not in the comments. Look, when it comes to the squad, I think it's a very, very good squad. There are not a lot of complaints. I would say the only disappointments really are not seeing Batusi Obas and Gran Mahaman in the team. I think Obas was our best player in that game against Congo. So it was really a surprise that he was not called. Also, Mahaman, I think he did well in that game against Namibia. But another thing I like about Mahaman is that, other than the football, he plays on the pitch. You can see he's someone that has heart, man. When he plays, he gives his all on the field of play. And I feel like Bafana lack those kind of players, because we are very quick to blame the coach for everything. But I back Hugo Bruce, I've backed him for a while. I think he's the right guy to lead us in AFCON, But at times, you also have to hold the players responsible, Sometimes, if I feel like these guys are not giving their all, for the national team. When you look at them go out there, we watch these players week in, week out in the Dstv Premiership. We know when they're at their best, and one other thing Hugo Bruce has done well to try and not play a lot of players out of position. When they're in the national team, he tries to play them in their natural positions. So we know when they're at their best how they play, but we don't see that enough in the national team. So it's a little bit of a problem. I think it's gonna be a problem. I don't know if we are ready for AFCON. These players have to step up, especially in these friendlies that we are going to. First of all, I'm not happy about a friendly against Eswatini, but what can we do? I want us to play the tough teams, man, to really test ourselves.
What's going to happen then?
At least these players are going to gain experience. I mean, we are not going to be playing against the Swatini in AFCON, man. So, and another thing, I feel like these players tend to be complacent when they're playing against the smaller nations, I mean, if you look at our performance against Morocco in the AFCON qualifiers, that was one of the best performances I've seen from Bafana Bafana in a while. Because it felt like these players wanted to give their all to showcase themselves, that they can compete against the best. So, yeah, I know there's that embarrassment against France, but I think we do need these competitions against the bigger nations, And when it comes to the squad, like I said, I think it's a very good squad. I like Hugo Bruce's consistency with the team, I hear some of the guys saying that players like who should be called, who is in form and he should be called. But at the end of the day, coaching a national team is not easy. And you need guys you can rely on, Let me make an example. If you look at England, English people and pundits are always complaining, why is Maguire in the national team? Why is Jordan Henderson in the national team? Even if they don't play at club level, even if they don't perform well at club level, but they're always in the national team. Why? Because they are very reliable for Gareth Southgate, They don't disappoint him when they play in the national team. So as a national team coach, you do need those players that you're going to rely on, the players that give their all for the national team, because at the end of the day, Hugo Bruce is the one who watches these guys in training. He's the one who is in the camp with these players. And Hugo Bruce is a very old coach type of guy, In Simbi Akdala, Hugo Bruce, he can see when a player is giving his all, and he can see. So these players, Abomobi, Bokolo, Nabumvala, these are players that he relies on, Mayela as well. He used to rely on him a lot, but now, by the way, I'm very happy for Pascal Marco to be in the national team.
Hey,
The question about Yeah, hey, Marco, man. Marco is the best left back in the country, man. So I'm happy that he is in the national team. The issue, yaga replacement at Sembazane. Hey, do you
Very
even
quickly
find the
for time.
replacement? Do you even find the replacement at Sembazane? It's difficult.
But are we gonna
But
be on Tembazon up until when?
yeah, the problem is that, but there are players who are promising in that sort of position. I mean, you look at the likes of Maswanganyi, I do think even Umayema can play that position. So it's all about Hugo Bruce to try and give those guys an opportunity. I mean, even the last game I complained, I looked at the starting lineup and the squad as well. When you take up Tembazwane, there is no creative midfielder there. So Hugo Bruce needs to call more of those players to try, and that's where he can find the replacement, in these friendlies. But if you gonna call Tembazwane alone all the time, then you're gonna start trying to find the replacement when he's already retired. So now it's gonna be a problem. So he needs to start calling the likes of Maswanganyi and Mayema early on so that they can gain the experience and maybe they can try and replace him.
Oh, is this thing? Oh, what's up, Mail? Okay, Theo. I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna come back to you. Let's talk about Umailula then, the Mailula situation. I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked the previous panel. Is he right in his assessment of Keses Mailula's situation? Was he correct in that? And then secondly, separate, should a national team coach say these things out loud in the media, or should he handle it in a different way?
I think you saw, or maybe if you were watching, like we have been talking in the comments about this Malula issue. It's so sad, Neguzi. He might be true, he might not be true. We don't know. We are not the agent. We are not Sundowns. We are not Toronto. We are not even Malula. We are just all speculating, including him. Okay, he might have found information that we didn't know, of which he is not in a position to tell us what he has discovered. But here's a question that I also want to pose. Had Malula been playing in Toronto, will he be saying this? Yabo. These are things that we also need to think about. Uplom, when he went to MLS, people were saying, "Yo, Uplom," and here's a guy, he's playing, he's enjoying his football, and we forget that with Samanyama player, it takes them time to adapt. You'll find that in the next coming maybe 4 or 5 games, they will put him in, the boy will shine, and then all of a sudden he's back on the good books, he's playing, and then now the same remarks that he just made, they come and they bite him in the ass, which is the very same thing he did with Chiefs. He talked about Chiefs. Mali player, he has to go to Chiefs. I feel like as a coach, you should not even be part of such sagas. For an example, if you remember, as I said before, he had a problem. And even with Pirates, it's like he's a coach that is reaching for problems, and it's unnecessary. Yes. It's unnecessary for him to be doing these things. As much as he can be saying things that we know as South African people, but we don't need to hear it from him as a coach, you understand? Because another thing that we need to understand, when you are there to coach, you are there to bring results, you are there to bring light in the country. But when I'm also who's now shaming our teams, we love Sundowns, we love Chiefs, we love Pirates, we love these young players. You understand? In the next coming few years, he can get fired, for an example. And they can fire him next season. And then they bring a coach. The coach, the first thing he does, he gets Mailula Nomangadali. Mailula becomes the star of South Africa. Then what are we going to say? So my understanding is, if you know a quality of a player, it should not be even focused with is he playing or not. Bring him in, and if he's not playing, then you send him back. Abo Pinar and Abo Serero, they always had these problems. They would bring them in from those kind of countries. When they come here, they get injured. So for me, he had no business talking that, or he had no business saying what he said. And it's unprofessional for him as a coach to go in a national platform to use it for his own personal benefits. And like a poker for wrong reasons. Because he can come in these coming few games. If he lose all these games, what are we gonna say? Must we focus on Ndaba Mailula instead of his performance? No, he should not be doing that. It's wrong and it's uncalled for.
Okay, Pumlani, same question to you. Was he correct in his assessment of what happened with Mailula? And then separately, is it correct for him to come out and say these things?
It's the assessment that I don't think is wrong. again, was Toronto the right team for Mailula? I don't think so. First of all, I'm not a big fan of the MLS. I think the MLS is a retirement league, and it's difficult for teams from Europe to pick up a player from the MLS. So I was not really happy with Mailula moving to the MLS, especially to a team like Toronto that has Insigne and Benandeshki. Yes, these players are old, they are going to retire soon, but again, Mailula needs to start playing now, whereas he's still young, so that he can gain more experience. So I wanted him to go to Europe. And I think the claims by Hugo Bruce, they are not baseless. You understand? But again, saying it's in public like that, especially in front of the SAPC, oh my God. Anyway, I don't think that was the right way to go about it. But the way he said it, you can just tell that this is something that has been in his heart for a very long time. And he wanted to express it, that he is not happy because I think he has high hopes for Mailula. He thinks he can be a very good asset for the Bafana Bafana national team. But now he thinks this is a very wrong decision from him. But at the end of the day, he shouldn't have said it in public, and this is going to cause problems for Mailula and his agent. Probably they'll be giving Hugo Bruce a call and saying, "But Coach Hugo, how can you say that?" So again, I don't think he should have said it in front of the media, but I don't think it's the wrong assessment at the end of the day.
Okay. Sipo, welcome to the show. How are you? Go on, Nabafo. I want to throw you in straight in. The two questions are: should Hugo Bruce is what Hugo Bruce said about Umailula, his assessment, is it right? And then should he have said these things out loud?
Ukuthi ngizocela nje ukuyibeka ngesiZulu futhi
Ah, no stress, no stress.
mfowethu uHugo Bros uyilo muntu ongakwazi ukukhuluma semdala. Uyazi manje kana umkhuluma mnandi
Awuzwakali kahle, angazi ukuthi mic yenzani, awuzwakali kahle.
Uyangizwa manje?
Yeah, there we go.
Ya ngizama ukubekela nje mfowethu ukuthi lo mgidi asemdala that's the first thing. Akakwazi ukukhuluma inkulumo yakhe akayihlaze akayicabangi before aze ukukhuluma akayidigest ukuthi lokho engizokusho njengoba ngikusho kuzobaphatha kanjani abantu ngoba phela lowo umuntu wabantu abantu i-public izokwenza njani ama-fans waleyo team uma kufika kuyo kuzothini shuthi uyasi-undermine yabo yonke lento leyo kwayena umdlali uzophila kanjani yabo. Well, ngibona kuyiqiniso akusizo ngeke size sikuphike. Umailula ugagamelile noma mhlampe usethimini yakhe noma i-agent yakhe noma uyena uqobo, but there is this thing of angazi embambile wayibona esephambili yabona, of which it was wrong. First isemncane yabona. Maybe if ever beyafuna ukuhamba, they were supposed to look at Europe, not America. Yabo nje umfowethu oqeda kuphumotha i-MLS ivele leyo iligi nje yabona akusizo singayibiza yabona. Mhlampe uthathe ukuthi mhlawumbe uzofana noHlongwane afike abe yisitana yes mhlawumbe bekungenzeka but i-style of play se-team noma i-team ayikhethile yangamfanele yabona yangaba right. Futhi kum-affective and kusazom-affect kwanikeza even nabantu abangekho noma abangakwazi ukukhuluma njengabo Bros ukuthi babe namazwi of which angekho right yabo. Yes umfana yena umoshekile ulahlekile ngeke sikufihla lokho yabona. Bekumele nje e-Europe semncane umfana besingagcina simbona even i-England the way yadlala ngakhona ebhola lethu ushaka but i-choice emshayile yokuthi aye lokhuzana. So let alone uMailula ucoach we-South Africa ucoach angazi noma uyigcwele kakhulu u-2 himself noma mhlawumbe uze wazi ukuthi i-South Africa ngazi ukuthi uyahlupheka noma usenzele i-favor, I don't know, but the way akhuluma ngakhona he speaks like he doesn't care. Even if tomorrow ngathi wahamba you won't even give
whatsoever angeke abe nandaba, so of which nayo into ezomshaya ngelanga angakusho la kithi, but kwamanye amazwe ngeke aze akusho ngoba uzokusho kanye uyovuka esibhedlela uyovuka esexoshiwe, yabo. Mhlampe
Yeah.
sinomusa kakhulu, yes,
Yeah.
of which ku-wrong. We cannot speak about ama-players ezwe kabi nama-team ezwe kabi, even noma ngathiwa i-team yenza kabi kanjani, but we cannot say hey abadlali bakhona abekho fit enough, abekho enough, abekho what. No, that's yours. Put it in your heart and save it there. Noma ungayikhuluma yikhulume kulabantu, not on public, because uyabalimaza nanabo, yabona. Uthi bathini amanye ama-players noma lamanye ama-club athini ngabo, then they become a joke, yabona. So
Okay.
ulimi luka-Bros alukho right. Usadinga nje ukuthi akayohluzisa, ayokhishwa ekhanda igazi lemnyama azokwazi ukucabanga.
I see, Mama. Let me go to Theo. Theo, you had a question.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be a baseless question. Maybe we have talked about it. My question is the criteria of him selecting players, our coach, based on not only just the performance, or also the fact that you know a player is performing, you know the player equality, you know Gucci, you know with Mailula, there's no Mailula in South Africa, guys. Let's not lie. There's no player that plays like him. The energy, the vibrancy, So now my question is him not selecting him based on the fact that he's not playing, or because of he's in the MLS, or maybe Gucci very high. He has this stage where I'm not going to play players that are not playing. Then if that's the sense, then that shows Guti, if, for an example, as Pesita was not playing at some time in Al Ali, that could have been one of the reasons why they never called him. If it shows Guti, then our own coach can be the poison to our own players. Guti, if a player has not been given a chance, but you know his capability, you know what he's capable of, then should not that be qualify you as a coach to say, let me bring him in. If he fails Simbugile. Then Uguti, we bash him, we talk bad about him, but not knowing Guti what's really going on according to you as a coach.
You know, the funny thing is, I think that my belief is when you become a coach of a team, a national team, whatever it is, it's really up to you how you want to do anything. The issue then becomes when you start talking about it. That's when people can poke holes into different logical things and whatever. Coaches have favorites, coaches have other things, coaches have reasons why they don't pick players. My issue with Hugo Bruce is that, you talk about it so much and you talk about it so much, then we can point at different things. There was, with the Chiefs thing, I remember it was like, Chiefs is like it's to be X amount of points away from Sundowns, therefore nothing has changed, we can't change the players. But then you go, oh, Mara, if Kukun is below Chiefs, why would Moby get in? So now you've started to give yourself a tough time. You hear what I mean? Whereas if you just kept quiet, set the company line and lived your life, you would have been fine. That's what I think. If I can just jump in, that's what I think. My problem with Hugo Bruce is that you're creating unnecessary drama. It's unnecessary. You pick the players that you want to pick. If you well and truly care about Duquessis, speaking about it out loud is not going to change. It's not going to make it better. You might get into a fight with him instead of calling him. Remember, Abu Igasant used to call players. They used to say Igasant was on the phone with players across the world, but they'd never tell us what those conversations were about. And the other problem is that it seems as though when he says these things without ever having spoken to the clubs in question. So now, can you imagine Unseki, for example, the Unseki situation? Unseki is sitting at home. He's got his own worries. Fans are throwing things at him. He's chilling at home. Next thing, Hugo Bruce comes out and says 1, 2, and 3. Now, when I go to my press conference, not only do I have to deal with the stuff that I have to deal with, now I have to deal with these questions that this guy is asking me. And now I have to decide how I'm going to handle it. Now, can you imagine Siadliwa? I might have to come out here and be aggressive towards a situation, Yago Hugo Bruce, right? So I'm like, there's so many variables that are introduced when coaches start saying things publicly. That's my issue. He can feel that way. He can be right, even. He can be right, the proper right. But when you speak, you can't speak to Bafana on this platform. I can speak to you a certain way. You can speak to me a certain way. We don't have any ties to any of the teams or any of that stuff, right? So there's a level of honesty and conversation we can have. But now, as that coach, imagine now I badmouth Chiefs or any other team. Let's say I badmouth Sundowns. Then Sundowns says, you know what, Joe, Mina, we're not going to release any players to you anymore, right? They'd be well within their rights, especially if you haven't spoken to me. What was the cry at Tazwani? How players are being
That's the
called,
problem.
they don't tell
That's
us.
my point exactly.
You get what I mean? What is the cry? Oh, my guy, you go out there and you speak so loudly and do all that stuff. You haven't heard anything from us. You haven't, you get what I mean? So I think that's my only problem. But in terms of coach, pick whoever you want to pick. You're going to live and die by the result anyway. Pick whoever you want to pick. If you want to develop a team and you want to take a team under 19 and go for 3 years with that team until they're 22, it's fine. If you want to pick old players and play old players, it's fine. The issue comes when you stand in front of, especially our media. I think they've realized, Guti, this guy, Ukulman J. So if we can ask him some questions, we might be able to get a result that's going to sell some papers tomorrow or sell some media or have people come up. You get what I mean? Nah, he has to have that thing. I'm sure I won't take it. I remember, was it Gavin Hunt? There was a time when Gavin Hunt was asked about the stadium situation as a Pulukwan. He made a face and he said, you know what? I don't want to get into this here. You know what I mean? And he walked away. And he didn't say anything. Now, can you imagine if he had said something? You know? Let me go to Pumlani. Pumlani, any closing statements for today?
Yeah. Let me just say, there are a lot of issues, we can speak about. But at the end of the day, what's important for us is to just let's support our national team, guys.
All of them. Banyana is also playing right now.
Yes. So, let's support them. At the end of the day, they are our cows. So we have to support them. And let's try and go to the stadium, guys. Hugo Bruce is complaining about this thing of not attending, So, but now, why do they want to play all their games in Gauteng, So, it's a little bit difficult, but let's support them. And for Hugo Bruce, I think he just needs to, his problem is, I think he wants to, he's trying to fix South African football rather than being the Bafana coach. So he says all of these things publicly because he thinks they will make a certain change, in these aspects. But at the end of the day, it will not, it's just shooting himself in the foot because the media is always looking to pounce on him. So he just needs to stop this and focus on coaching the national team. That's all.
Okay. Theo, closing statements for today? Are you still with me, Theo?
My first I want to say is I'm with you. Can the coach just can the coach just be the coach, bring results, give us enterprising football? We're not gonna go to stadium to watch South Africa win 1-0 and then lose the game and then we say, no, he comes and then he talks in the media. We don't want you to be a media enterprise. We want you to be a coach. We brought you in to be a coach to fix the problems that we have in South African football. Stop going at players, bring out the best out of players. Don't tell us we don't care. We want you to bring the best out of them. And also, may there be continuity in the squad, man. You want continuity. Even when we lose, can we lose knowing we dominated the game? That's right.
Yeah. Okay, no, thank you. Yeah, network jumped in there. Thank you guys to the panelists. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Thank you guys for joining me today. I guess, okay, if I'm going to close it, again, for me, I'm not a person who wants to dictate what a coach is going to do. How he's going to play, who's going to choose, what he's going to do. My only issue with Hugo Bruce is that he's got a very complicated relationship with the media. and sometimes his mouth writes checks that he can't cash. So, for example, you speak about Chiefs, you do all that stuff. The next week, you have Msimango Modi, they're announced, and you're like, oh, were you sticking to your laurels, or are you now changing because there was media pressure? When Sundowns was not playing well, and Sundowns was playing well, sorry, and he was saying that he doesn't want to pick those players, they're old or whatever. Jiggy, 2 months later, he's changed and he's put in these guys. And the problem was what? He made a statement in the beginning, and now that statement came back. Yeah, that statement came back and it bit him in the mouth. It bit him. So that's why I'm saying that for me, my issue with Hugo Bruce is that every time Skulmange Bafana Bafana, it has to be about drama. Bafana Bafana has done relatively okay in comparison to the other Bafana Bafana teams before that. But we can't even praise them. Because every day you have to deal with another situation, right? And then when he's done speaking, now Abonseki have to walk in and deal with that situation. Now Blom in America has to deal with the situation. Now Msimango, who's coming out for an everyday media day, now has to deal with that situation, right? So now you're creating drama and guys. Nobody needs to know why you pick players. Nobody needs to understand it. That's not your job. Even this thing of fixing. All the time we speak about. I've asked you guys on many occasions. Are we not putting too much expectations and responsibilities on top of the national team coach? National team coach is not meant to be a developer. He's not meant to be developing anybody. He's not meant to be commenting on contract situations. He wasn't in the contract disputes of whoever. He's not meant to be saying certain things, right? When a communicator in the PSL, communicate with the players that you want to communicate with if you want to do that. But trying to be the spokesperson of the country, on top of being a developer of the country, no, guys, that's all. Just do your job. That's all. The rest of the other stuff will have to be sorted out by other people. But when the media asks you, I don't know how many times I tell you guys, all you need to do is dance. Just dance. Hey, what do you think about the Cassius Mailula situation? It's sad that he's not playing. But I've chosen the players that have played. Let's focus on the game going forward. Hey, Kaizer Chiefs is what. Hey, I don't want to make it about any other teams. These are the players that I feel give us the best chance to go win. The other players, it's not to say that they're bad or good, but there'll come a time when I may need them, where we may play together, where I may need them in the squad. But as for now, let's focus on the squad we have right now. These are the players I've chosen to go represent us. Hey, what about this? Like, it is dance. Just dance, and you can figure out everything else. But the moment you start doing this, you allow scrutiny, you allow a ton of different situations to come into your camp. Now, a week later, you must come out and apologize to coaches and say you're taking them out for coffee, the situation that happened, And then for those people, now imagine I have to deal with, on top of all of the stresses that I have in my life, I have to deal with the stress that was added onto me because somebody said something in the media the other day. Now I have to, guys, imagine how he's been looked at and all of that stuff. I'm going to use him because he's a coach. Imagine how he's been looked at, and all of the things he has to deal with and how he has to prepare for these press conferences. Now, on top of that, you put something else on top. Guys, don't do that. At least speak to me before you put things on me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Let me see. Thank you so much for the gifts. Mavis, thank you so much for the gifts. Let me just get the full name here. Ilanga Lavantu Radio, thank you so much for the gifts on that side. Like I said, guys, Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon here. Monday to Wednesday, also at 8 p.m. here. If there's a watch-along, if there's any of the big three playing, we also do watch-alongs. We're going to do watch-alongs of the final tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And yeah, if you miss any of the shows or it's gone past you or any of that, they're all available in full on Facebook and on YouTube, where you'll be able to watch them in full, watch them back in full, whether it be the watch-alongs, whether it be these episodes, because there's been some really cool conversations we've had. Guys, this platform I created so that we can have these conversations and speak to each other, because whenever we watch TV and we see former players, analysts, very narrow views, and we don't necessarily get to put our voices out and speak about these things even amongst ourselves. So if you can, please, can you help by donating to the channel's bank account, or joining the memberships on YouTube. If you go into the YouTube channel, Overthinking Football Show, and any of the videos, there's a join button there. Click on the join button. There's 3 tiers, 20 Rand a month, 60 Rand a month, 150 Rand a month. That helps us keep this running, because unlike those guys, we're not bankrolled by SuperSport. You're not bankrolled by SABC or any of those platforms. We're doing this ourselves, and I'm not gonna lie, it's getting harder and harder to justify doing this. Actually, it's been hard to do this. So I would really appreciate your support, as Pumindobeni has shown support on YouTube by being a casual overthinker. That's 20 Rand tier, and also subscribing on Facebook, and then Exquisite Photo and Video, also being a casual overthinker, the 20 Rand tier on YouTube, and then on TikTok, Saranim Tosta and Binelo Asperado has subscribed on this side. A little bit more expensive, but thank you so much. As well as Usenzo Malinga, who's donated to the show, and also somebody who wants to remain nameless. So guys, 20 Rand, nyana, just to please put towards helping to keep these things here and up and the platforms running, because we really do need it as content creators, as people who aren't mainstream media. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys. Lineup assessments. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the watch along. We're going to be watching that final. But not Chiefs. At least Rona, I need to drive down to Naturena, get myself some of those chips, and then just sit back. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 o'clock.